maybe do some educational videos. Bottoms up.
Yeah, that was me. You're probably wondering how I got here and what changed. Well, it's a long story, but first let's have a complete tonal shift with an entirely different kind of intro. So, I don't want to drag this out, especially since if you can't tell by the multiple intros and the overall lack of a concise creative direction, I'm not really sure what to say here. But I've just sort of got a lot on my mind, and even though I hate the vlog style content because I know what it's like to be scrolling on TikTok just to see someone updating everyone about their personal life, and it's like, okay, but who are you and why should I care? But the only way I'm really going to be able to say what I want is by delivering a message that is mostly scattershot and stream of consciousness. Because all I really have to say is that I'm finally moving to YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's no duh, but if you're watching this on TikTok, go ahead and, check out my YouTube. But no worries, I'm going to keep uploading to TikTok. However, certain frustrations I have with TikTok, as if I don't have frustrations with this, certain frustrations I have with TikTok and the direction I want to go with my content is definitely going to make it more of an afterthought. It'll basically become a place where I upload shortened down and segmented clips of what I do here on YouTube, and here on YouTube you will get special videos that you won't see over there. This has always been the plan ever since my content evolved from comedy to whatever it is now, philosophy I suppose. Because at a certain point I became disillusioned with the idea that I could change people's minds. It's not that I don't think they can, it's just nobody wants to believe that they're wrong, obviously. But the implication of that is that people aren't simply misinformed. We live in a world of the internet, and yeah, you could argue that the capacity, the ability to understand things is also a limitation. But I think it's more so just these ideological commitments that people have where they are emotionally invested in something. So even if it were possible to be there emotionally for all of you in 3-minute videos and make you want to believe me, I think everyone who knows me knows that I don't have the temperament for that. I don't know if I can change people's minds, but I think I can focus my efforts more efficiently by making more serialized content where people can go and see how to refute common arguments. And obviously, as I have promised for a very long time now, a big part of my move to YouTube will be teaching people how to debate and argue in general, which is a bit daunting, honestly, other than the technical limitations. For example, this is the camera I bought to record YouTube videos with. That's a whole rant that we're not going to get into. Let's just leave it at I'm using my phone in a very creative way because it doesn't have enough memory for each recording session, and God knows it would just be too generous for Apple to allow any cross-platform compatibility whatsoever. Where was I? Oh yeah, other than that, every time I thought about YouTube, I got a pretty sus case of imposter syndrome. No, seriously, I kept asking myself, am I really capable of that? People would ask me for book recommendations, and I had no clue. I wasn't really educated in that way. The only reason I ever got into this is because political correctness made it impossible for me to continue my comedic videos. I would make a video about a person in a wheelchair, crossing my fingers because I'm like, please don't let people take this the wrong way, because that I would understand and rightfully take whatever backlash for crossing the line. But the comments weren't, oh, that's offensive. People were horrified that I insinuated that a disability was a disability, a problem in physical function that implied a solution. Like, I get that that can become part of someone's life, and so they may think of it in that way, but like, what? It just became clear to me at that point that this fight was important. Because how could I tell a joke knowing that it would land if you and I don't just have different values, but live in completely different realities? In that, my reactionary content became necessary, because I had to fight back if I ever wanted to regain any sense of normalcy, and it didn't matter if I was the one doing it, because someone had to. And obviously the same could apply now, but I just don't ever want to become the thing I hate. And now perhaps I've fallen into this trap, but recently I've started to read Descartes, Aristotle, Hobbes, Locke, Plato, Rousseau, on. And I've come to find that this idolization I had of these great intellectuals was greatly misplaced. Like, you read Aristotle's Physics or Plato's Republic and you think to yourself, The fact that these guys thought that there were only 4 elements isn't going to be that big of a deal in their arguments, right? The vast majority of people who would challenge me under the guise of authority are the same pseudo-intellectual deconstructionists who challenge the very concept of authority under the guise that everything's so nuanced, everything's a social construct, and that these institutions were made to oppress whatever marginalized group is relevant at the time. But here they are, turning around and worshiping the authority of these oppressive institutions. No, I'll still acknowledge the importance of people like Locke, Aristotle, but I'm not going to kowtow to your postmodernist academics whose authority, by your own admission, is non-existent. I am just going to sit down and reason things out, because maybe the world doesn't need me to be some well-read, pretentious, wannabe philosopher. Maybe it just needs common sense. So if that's what you're looking for, I can't promise a consistent theme for this page. For example, I'm not taking down the syrup video, because I'm not embarrassed by it. I probably should be, but I'm not. I may end up making various forms of content, especially educational content, because I think it's very disingenuous to act as though what you're preaching is common sense, if then you go on to say, oh well, there's this truth and it's different from this truth. As if one is less truthful because of how society wants to perceive it. That math, science, philosophy, engineering, literature, film, they're different truths. They're not. They're different perspectives on the same thing, the world, and how we experience, share, and understand it. So all I can really say that I have planned for this page is just to cover common sense in all things. And hopefully I won't just get lazy and give up doing this because it's too hard. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then go ahead and subscribe. If not, that's fine too. But hopefully, I'll see you in the next video.